Now, if you want to go directly to disk and not have to create a file and go through that process and then go to another program to create a disk, there's several reasons for doing this. Even at TV stations, when you're creating advertisements, you might have 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 different versions of an advertisement and how it's done. And you could put it on a Blu-ray or put it on a DVD to be able to show them and have the chapters be each one of the options that they have. But you can go directly to disk. You don't have to go to another program. Now, there was a little program called Let's DVD that was created by Canopus, who was later bought by Grass Valley. And that program has been incorporated into Edius. And not only that, but they've actually worked on it, changed it, and enabled you to do some good stuff with it. Now, to be able to print to disk, once again, we go to the export button. And this time, instead of print to file, we would print to disk. And in printing to disk, you're going to see now the program pop up. Now, this is a little different look than it had even in 6, I believe, but yet it's basically the same. Notice how it said Blu-ray already? Because it's a high-definition project. I can take that down to DVD if I want to, MPEG-2, and I can pick to use a menu or no menu. In other words, just have it kind of like a VHS when you popped out the tab, and it would just start playing. That's exactly what it would do if you didn't use any menus. If I was going to go to Blu-ray, then it gives me the option between H.264 and MPEG-2. So basically, it's kind of not going to let you make the mistake here of picking something that you shouldn't pick. Once you've gotten that down, then you go to your movie. Now, the title is going to be exactly whatever your sequence is, the sequence that's active while you're doing it. You can add another sequence, however. So if I wanted to sit there and add a sequence and say, hey, I want to do my track mat sequence as well, then that would be brought in. And I could put that up above here and then go into the settings on it. And notice it's set to automatic, but I could go in and change the stream bit rate, maximum bit rate and the audio if I wanted to. But this is what I really, really like right here. Prohibit operations during playback. So if you're creating something and at the beginning you want to put something up there that you want them to see every time and they can't skip over, all you have to do is just prohibit operations during playback, and that little video right there that you're going to be playing or that sequence, they won't be able to sit there and chapter forward or hit menu or something of that nature and be able to get out of that. Now, stereoscopic, of course, you can sit there and create a 3D Blu-ray with this because we were able to edit in 3D. Now we'll be able to output in 3D, but I wanted you to be able to see that right there. Now that I have these in here, I've added the whatever files and sequences that I want, then I need to come into Style. Now the style, you'll see down here that you can pick from different styles, and even though there's not many in these right now, I'm sure by release that they're going to have the other ones in it. But if I come into a style and say, hey, I really like this style right there, then here we go. It's going to sit there and allow me to be able to have my videos in here. And if I had chapters set, and you set chapters just by putting sequence markers on your timeline. And if I had a couple of sequence markers on there, then I would automatically have chapters in here because it would see those sequence markers and do it. But it allows me to come in with an auto layout, or I can sit there and give it an idea of exactly how I want to do it. The aspect ratio on this menu, whether it's going to be 16:9 or 4:3, but because it's a Blu-ray, it won't allow me to do that. The frame rate on it is going to be auto, even though I could come in and pick 1920 by 1080 24p if I wanted to. And I could say no chapter buttons if I didn't want to have chapter buttons, or I could say no chapter menu. And you can see right there, only one chapter. So basically saying, okay, I just want the names of each one of my sequences up there and have it done. The cursor style, do from fill, border, or underline, meaning that as the cursor's moving around on the Blu-ray, that you'd be able to see it in a little bit different way. So once you have this set up the way you want, then we go into edit. Now, when we're editing this, it's actually very simple disk creator, but yet at the exact same time, though, it allows us to be able to do something here, such as I can go in and do a motion menu and pick a video for the background. So if I wanted to change the picture or pick a video on the background, I just come to back and double click. And this would allow me to come in and say, hey, you know what? I want a little bit different something here. So I'm going to open up, and now I can come in and look at all these different file types I can pick. I can pick an M2P, M2TS, I can pick stills, I can pick whatever it is I want to pick here. And then if I open that, that's what would be on the background right here. So you're not stuck with the background. You can pick a style because you like the way the buttons looked and the way that it was set up, and then come in and be able to change something completely and totally. Plus, I can go in with effects. I can do a simple frame or picture frame effect or something of that nature, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this because I'm just going to leave it this way. To change the other things in here, such as the page label, all I do is double click on it. And now I can sit there and say Mike's Disc. Of course, it would help to actually type it incorrectly. Mike's Disc. And once again, any true type font that I have, I can do solid color, I can do bold, I can do placements, I can do all sorts of different type things here. So I select OK on this. Now it says Mike's Disc. See title? I can sit there on the play button. I can work on the play button if I want to and be able to change that a little bit. I can zoom it if I want to. See, if I wanted to change it to right there, I could go OK, and then I just bring it back up again, set. And now it's a different frame that is going to be showing in that. So I can change the frame and change where the location of it is, the size of it if I want to, just by coming up here. And then I can go in and change that. Now notice it's named what my sequence was, but I can change that if I want to. And I can do the same thing here over on the exact other side. So I can go through and do this. And also I can take a look at it. I can put a screen grid up to make sure. And if I do that again, and again, I can get more intense with that screen so that I can place everything and have it really symmetrical if I want to. I can do it in TV mode. In other words, what is it going to look like on the TV? And also I can save the current layout for later if I want to work on it a little bit later. So once this is done, then I go to write. Now this is another one of the neat things about this program that I really, really like is that notice it has a drive 1. Now, in reality, I could have 3 or 4 drives in here. If I had a really big tower and had the way to hook them up, I could have 10 drives in here if I wanted to. I can put a volume label on it. I can tell it how many disks I want it to duplicate. So in other words, straight from the timeline, I don't have to just create a disk and then go to a disk duplication station. If I have a few drives in here, I could actually sit here and say, yes, I want to do 10 disks. And then I could sit there and it would tell me what each one of the disks are these right here. And if I enable detailed settings, you'll see that I can compile a disk image to folder. I could create the disk and also export as an image file. I can verify the disk afterwards, and I can tell it how many drives I want to use. So if I have 4 drives here and I only want to use 2 to create these 10 disks, I could just tell it, use 2 of the drives, and it will literally open the trays, I'll put them in, it'll burn them, just like I would do in a disk duplication situation. And then I can go into my options here and I can say first play command, do I want to show the menu or do I want to play that first movie title first? So if I played that very first one first, to where I was sitting there wanting them to see it, and then I sat there and set it up to where they can't do any operations, they would have to do it. Command after playing first movie, do I want to play the next movie title? Do I want to go back to the menu? And so basically, after the movie, I have total control here on what I want to do and the commands I want to do. There are certain things I can't, such as I can't do really Easter eggs because I don't really have power over where each menu item is, and I can't sit there and do the navigation. That's done automatically. So once again, it's kind of a simple disk burning program. But at the same time, though, it's very powerful, allowing you to be able to bring your own stuff in. You can bring your own background in if you want to. If you're doing a wedding one, you can have a picture of the bride and groom in the back or a little video of them in the back with music playing over and over and over again. If you're a company, you can put your company logo as the background for this. So in other words, you can really customize these discs and make them look very, very good and very specific to you and your company or your customer. And then, of course, when you're ready to write, you just hit Create Disk, and it's going to start creating all the disks that I asked it to create. And it's a very simple program to use, but yet, like everything else in Edius, it allows you to really fine-tune and be able to do what it is you want to do.